My name is Melissa Fleming, and I'm the United Nations Undersecretary General for Global Communications, and it's my great honor to welcome you to the 2019 UN Day Concert. At the outset, I would like to thank the permanent mission of the State of Qatar for sponsoring this year's concert, which promises to be a rich blend of art and cultures. The musicians performing here today, who originate from across Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, are a testament to the value of multilateralism. The diverse cultures that they represent come together in this magnificent orchestra in pursuit of a common good, to convey a message of harmony and peace. Each one of us in this room and watching in the broadcast has the power to contribute to the conversation, whether online or in person, on the challenges and the issues of our times. I encourage you all to take inspiration from today's event and use that power to engage with the support of the many initiatives that we see around the world to end poverty, to fight climate change, or to speak out for greater social justice. As the Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra vividly demonstrates, no matter where we are from, we have many more things in common than not, and together we can achieve whatever we set our minds to. I would also like to thank the members of the West Village Chorale who will be taking part in the performance today. And I ask you all, please use your social media platforms to support this afternoon's performance and its messages of prosperity for all, using our hashtag UN Day. Leading the United Nations in its work with partners across the globe to promote prosperity, peace, dignity, and opportunity for all is the United Nations Secretary General. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcome to the stage Mr. Antonio Guterres.
Excellencies, colleagues, distinguished guests, friends of the United Nations, ladies and gentlemen, happy United Nations Day to you all. Today, we celebrate the 74th anniversary of our unique organization and its founding document, the United Nations Charter. And I thank the permanent mission of the State of Qatar for bringing to the United Nations its national orchestra and the wonderful women and men who will perform for us today. This concert is a traditional highlight of United Nations Day. It is an opportunity to remind ourselves through music and art of our shared humanity and the values we hold in common. At a time when inequality, discrimination, and dehumanization are growing around the world, celebrating our diversity and recognizing how much we share with our fellow women and men is more important than ever. And the theme of today's concert, Building Prosperity for All through Culture, Education, Gender Equality, Sports and Sustainability, reminds us that we have little more than a decade ahead of us to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. In these all last months, I warned world leaders that we are off track to achieve the SDGs by 2030 and that stronger and more ambitious action. And gender equality is an important goal in itself, but it's also a catalyst to achieve all the goals. The meaningful participation of women makes peace agreements stronger and development programs more effective. But we still see structural discrimination everywhere, including in the arts. Representation matters, so I'm delighted to see that women are leading today's performance. The composer of today's music, Dana Al-Fardan, the pianist Hala Al-Ema, and the vocalist Aisha, and the conductor Eimear Noone are pioneers and role models. I'm always fascinated by art and culture that crosses barriers to bring people together. That is surely one of the highest achievements of any artist, and I look forward very much to this afternoon's program. Before we appreciate the music, I would like to thank Her Excellency Ambassador Ali Ahmed Saif Al Thani, Permanent Representative of Qatar, the players of the Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra, and all involved in today's concert, and the very important participation of the Qatari Minister of Foreign Affairs. Finally, today, we're also looking ahead to the next year, when we will celebrate our 75th anniversary. We will be holding a global dialogue about the United Nations of the future, aiming to stimulate discussion from classrooms to boardrooms, and I urge all of you to contribute. Today and every day, let's celebrate United Nations and work together to realize our shared vision of peace, sustainable development, and human rights and dignity for all on a healthy planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, for your inspiring words. I am now very pleased to present a video message from the President of the General Assembly, His Excellency Mr. Tijani Mohammed Bande, who sends his regrets for not being here in person this afternoon, but I hope you'll be inspired by his words.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank the Permanent Mission of Qatar for bringing music to the General Assembly Hall, a place where we spend most of our days striving for harmony. I apologize for not being with you this evening to enjoy the beautiful music of the Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra. UND marks the coming into force of the United Nations Charter. The first 3 words of this document set the stage for all we do, we the peoples. Indeed, we must ensure that we include all peoples in every facet of our work here at the United Nations. That includes women, youth, older persons, people with disabilities, and those ostracized by their communities. We must ensure that we leave no one behind. To that end, my priorities for the 74th session of the General Assembly are the promotion of peace and security through conflict prevention, poverty eradication and zero hunger, climate action, access to quality education, and inclusion. Dear friends, just 1 month ago, world leaders gathered here in the General Assembly Hall. As I listened to the speakers in the general debate, I formed the distinct impression that multilateral cooperation remains an accepted and reliable method of managing relations among nations. As we approach the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, I'm heartened that we remain committed to the ideals of the founders of our organization. I wish you a wonderful evening celebrating UN Day.
It's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs of the State of Qatar, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. معالي الأمين العام للأمم المتحدة.
In the name of God, the most merciful, Secretary General, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome you here today to celebrate United Nations Day. I'd like to thank the Secretary General for sponsoring and supporting this celebration. I also welcome the President of the 74th Assemblies General, Mr. Tijani Mohammed Bande. Thank you for your message, broadcast by video. Thank you to Madam Fleming. I'd also like to thank all of the team for their professional cooperation, the cooperation which has been worthy of the commemorations today. Today we're celebrating 74 years of the United Nations. The Charter was signed 74 years ago, and that changed the course of history. Generations since then have enjoyed the benefits of it. The beginning of the United Nations was a turning point in our history and the beginning of a new phase to create a balanced organization to celebrate peace and human dignity. Our celebration today is not only a celebration of the anniversary, but a renewal of the objectives and the principles that the founding fathers of the United Nations agreed to continue the work they started and to strengthen international cooperation and to renew our commitment to international cooperation to achieve the objectives that the UN was created for and to create a future of sustainable peace. Human existence is not just limited to the material, political, or economic side. It's also a question of cultural and artistic and even sporting development. These are a pillar in man's happiness and in people's prosperity. The United Nations recognized this very early. This is why the organization created a link between the 17 SDGs that refer to equality for all, gender equality, and multidimensional human prosperity. It draws no distinction between men and women, between rich and poor. Our country is participating in this celebration in order to celebrate artistic creation through films, through building cultural bridges between peoples. We are proud of the fruits of the work of the Qatari delegation. It's our pleasure to host this event. And it's also a pleasure for us to host some very eminent women in our country and in the institutions working in our country. I would like to thank everyone who's been involved in this event, and I'd also like to thank the Doha Fund for Cinema and all of the artists who are here with us this afternoon. We will continue to be pioneers in those countries that support the United Nations, that honor its engagements, and so that we can stand side by side with the international community to try to rid the world of conflict, to ensure that we together can honor our commitments and to meet the noble objectives of this organization. Thank you very much, and I hope you all enjoy the concert.
Our final speaker before enjoying the concert is His Excellency Mr. Hussein Al-Tawadi, Secretary General of the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy of the State of Qatar. And before I welcome him to the stage, I wish all of you a great concert. Now over to Mr. Al-Tawadi. The floor is yours.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, artistes, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a pleasure to address you on United Nations Day. 74 years ago on this day, in 1945, the Charter of the United Nations entered into force, calling for maintenance of peace and international security and respect for human rights. The Charter brought together nations big and small to make firm commitments, guarding against any repeat of the two major world wars of the 20th century, and to enshrine and safeguard the dignity and worth of people throughout the world. United Nations Day was inaugurated to cherish the Charter and the principles that it stands for. These are principles that unite all races, ethnicities, languages, and cultures, and therefore it is truly fitting that this day is marked by a concert. On this occasion, through the music of the incredibly gifted Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra. Music is one of the very few vehicles that genuinely transcends borders, languages, and cultures. Music inspires us, it comforts us, it educates us. A beautiful song or an uplifting score has the power to bring joy to people, young or old, wherever they may be in the world. People learn languages different from their own through listening to music. It is a window into cultures different from our own. Nations and cultures have their own unique relationship with music. It is often the centerpiece of families and friends gathering to celebrate a special occasion. It can be the pride that a certain instrument or song inspires within a culture. And it can be 80,000 people in a stadium passionately singing a national anthem in unison prior to a major sporting event. Music is inherently inclusive, binding people together both within and across cultures and borders. And music shares these attributes with sports. Sports, and in particular football, is a genuinely global phenomenon that touches people from every walk of life. You can take a stroll down Fifth Avenue and you'll likely find someone wearing a Messi or Ronaldo shirt. And you're just as likely to find children in a refugee camp on the other side of the world wearing the same shirts and idealizing the same players. Like music, sports transcends borders. It transcends languages and cultures, and it forms an important part in the collective narrative of peoples, nations, and our shared histories. In 2022, Qatar will host the FIFA World Cup for the first time in the Middle East. The World Cup unifies the diverse strands of this planet more than any other. More than half of the planet's population tuned in to watch the World Cup final in 2018. It represents a critical moment for our country and our region. The eyes of the world will be on us in 2022, and not because of war, not because of conflict. Instead, it is our chance to showcase our passion for football, our commitment to innovation, the hospitality of our people, and perhaps most important of all, to build bridges with the rest of the world in the most meaningful way possible, on a people-to-people level. Amid the growing trend of divisiveness and populism, the World Cup in the Middle East is the perfect antidote. For us, this is much more than 28 days of football. We have implemented a program that dovetails with the Sustainable Development Goals to ensure that 2022 is a rallying point in the history of our nation and our region. We will deliver the first carbon-neutral World Cup with sustainability integrated across every initiative. We're making every effort to implement sustainable change within and beyond our borders for the lives of the migrant workers. We're providing a platform for the talented young people of our region to contribute to hosting this event and utilize it as a springboard for their lives and their careers. And we are harnessing the power of football and the World Cup to make a difference to 1 million children's lives through our Generation Amazing program, which began in the Middle East and Asia and is now a global initiative dedicated to advancing achievement of the SDGs through football development. The work of Generation Amazing is depicted in the accompanying video to the score entitled Lusail, which will be played by the orchestra. Now, Lusail was composed to celebrate sports' contribution to education, human development, healthy lifestyle, and a peaceful world. Ladies and gentlemen, we're leaving no stone unturned in our mission to deliver a transformational moment in the history of Qatar, the Middle East, and the world. On this United Nations Day, it's important for us to recognize and appreciate the importance of any opportunity that has the power to unite people from different walks of life. This afternoon, it is the diverse and beautiful sounds of orchestral music that serves as the tapestry that weaves us, citizens of every nation, together. And in 2022, it will be the World Cup that will bring over 1 million visitors from every continent to Qatar. More than half of the world's population will dedicate their passion and emotion to the tournament. And it is absolutely imperative that we, as global citizens, proponents of international cooperation and strength through diversity and unity, recognize and appreciate the need to ensure that these moments are not remembered as missed opportunities. In this era, moments and events with power to transcend race, language, ethnicity, and culture are precious. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure that unifying power is realized to its fullest, contributing to the vision that we believe in and laid out in the charter that we remember and celebrate today. I wish to thank you for your attention and your attendance and sincerely hope that you enjoy the concert. And of course, I look forward to welcoming you in Qatar in 2022. Espero poder darles la bienvenida en Qatar.
I hope to be able to welcome you in Qatar in 2022.
En 2022. Я буду рад приветствовать вас в Катар в 2022 году. Хуаньинг дайжи Erling Nyang Diao Qatar. And finally, and I apologize if I messed that up, Thank you. أتطلع إلى لقائكم جميعا في
Looking forward to receive all of you in my country, Qatar, 2022.
I would like to thank Her Excellency Sheikh Alia Ahmed bin Saif Al Thani, Permanent Representative of the State of Qatar in the UN, the Department of Global Communications, the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy for the honor to take part in this historic and unique performance. The universal mediums of art, culture, and film transcends limitations of other mass communication. And Qatar's contribution to the successful advancement of the global arts and cultural landscape has given volume to important new voices, focusing on cross-cultural exchange that strengthens our common hopes, dreams, and values. I share with great pride that the Doha Film Institute, under its esteemed leadership, has established itself as a global creative hub that facilitates exchange of learning, resources, and expert collaboration between nations and cultures, demonstrating Qatar's contribution to the global arts community. We have a pivotal opportunity to ensure fair representation for our narratives and to hand to our children a fair and equitable world by standing up for those who feel that they do not have a voice. Although women represent more than half of the world population, they are still grossly misrepresented and underrepresented. This creates an undeniable gap in our understanding of the human experience and limits our perspectives, our worldview, and most importantly, our potential. The typical stereotypes and misconceptions about the Arab world have been broken down, especially around women's contribution and the role of cinema. I'm proud that Qatar and the region has among the highest female representation in filmmaking worldwide. Women were among our pioneers of the cinema in the 1920s and 30s, and they continue today to drive progression in this industry to new heights. I strongly believe that women in the Arab world, and especially in Qatar, have broken the glass ceiling not only in cinema, but in all walks of life. In Qatar, we're blessed with such visionary leaders like Her Highness Sheikh Moza bint Nasser and Her Excellency Sheikh Al-Mayasir bin Hamad Al Thani, who have led by example, focusing on the key areas of education and cultural development to position Qatar as a country with unique voice that is ready to move into the next phase of growth and development. Nearly 60% of our emerging filmmakers in Qatar are talented and skilled women who are changing the face of modern cinema and continue to push the momentum forward to ensure that the next generation is empowered to create and lead equally with intention and confidence. We are thrilled to have collaborated with creative forces behind the films accompanying the beautiful music this evening, all produced by extraordinary Qatari women filmmakers. Visual artist Amal Al-Muftah, Buthain Al-Muftah, and Amna Al-Bakr are perfect role models, leading the change and contributing to the development of a sustainable film and creative industries in Qatar. I'm grateful also to be sharing the stage today with another trailblazing woman from Qatar, the incredibly talented contemporary composer, songwriter, and symphonic artist Dana Fardan. Thank you again for this honor, and I really wish you enjoy the performances tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words, Fatma. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be here with you tonight. I want to take this opportunity to thank all those involved to make this concert happen. I particularly would like to thank Ambassador Alia Al Thani, Permanent Representative of the State of Qatar to the UN, for bringing us all together here today. It's not very often that myself and the musicians have a chance to participate in such a momentous and meaningful occasion, so I'm grateful to have the chance to introduce my music to you. My compositions are a very particular blend that is inspired by my country, Qatar's rich culture and unique position in the world. The themes that we touch on and that we explore are gender equality, community, cohesion, economic growth, dialogue, and human resilience. Music is a universal language that transcends physical and cultural borders, creating a system of shared values and lasting experiences that unite us all. And this program tonight is inspired and dedicated to promoting dialogue and to cultural exchange. And I hope that the variety that you hear in the music reflects and demonstrates the fact that we all speak the same language in our core, and we all have the same relationship to our hearts and our minds. To conclude, I would like to thank DFI, Fatma Ramahi, for creating the films that will be accompanying the music. That was very emotional. I had several moments during the rehearsals. And I'm very proud to be representing my country in the build-up to the World Cup. We're at a very momentous occasion, the renaissance of our time. And I would like to acknowledge the Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra that was founded by a great, great female leader, Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasser Al-Misnad, who has led women into the public sphere and changed the narrative for women in so many places around my region. And I'll always be grateful to that. The Qatar Philharmonic Orchestra is dedicated to promoting Western as well as Eastern music, encouraging creativity amongst adults and children alike around the Arab world. And most importantly, it's creating world music through a Qatari lens. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy the show.